the performance of those machineries will automatically improve. Preventive maintenance. So impact, what is the economic impact of digital twin? Tell me, what happens because of the because of the digital twin? Okay. Economically, yeah, you need huge amount of investment for those IoT devices, cloud computing, AI, and all those things. But long term, if you see, you can get the benefits from that one. So, what are the impact? Enhanced efficiency and productivity of your supply chain. You can optimize the processes, minimize waste. Minimize waste means bottlenecks in your supply chain. You can minimize food waste, improves the maintenance forecasting, leads to higher output and cost reduction. When you reduce the bottlenecks, when you automate the processes, obviously productivity will go up and your cost will go down. Better product quality and innovation. When you when your the quality of your machines, the life is good, obviously the quality of product quality will increase. Virtual testing and simulation for faster product development, improves quality control and accelerate innovation, improve decision making like real-time data insights, enhance resource allocation and scheduling. Suppose you know that well in advance there might be the huge demand coming up from your customers, you can accordingly manage your resources. You can hire the temporary workers, you can increase the fleets, all those things. So real-time insights, based on those real-time insights you manage your resources, leads to better business outcomes, new business models and revenue streams. Sometimes you suppose during COVID-19, many companies, earlier the companies which were not selling the online products, but because of this lockdown and border closures, many companies they started their online platform as well. So it enables data driven services, predictive maintenance, remote monitoring, expand the monetization opportunity, job creation and skill development. This is very important. Many students they think that okay, because of AI and all those things there is no need of our job, and many of you are from the mechanical department, so don't think in that way. So some hard working jobs, the AI will do that job, but smart work basically if you want to analyze the data, find out the insights and trends and all those things, because whatever the the use of this AI and all those technologies, at the end if you look at the managers, they don't follow all the blindly this AI and all those things. They will check whether it is providing the good results or not, because if input is wrong, if garbage in garbage out, if your data is wrong, okay, if you don't have the good amount of historical data, AI will not perform well. So in those cases you need your experience as a manager or as an employee. So you need to build your skills in that one, data analyst, data scientist, those kind of things. Don't now go for the regular kind of jobs, okay, logistics manager, all those things. Risk management, another very interesting the scope. New roles in DT development, digital twin development, data analysis, cyber security. Automation may replace some traditional roles. Robotics, yesterday I have shown you one video of Ocado, okay. So but you need to see how the you can improve your skills to manage those robotics, to connect that the robots with the other technologies available in that warehouse. So digital twins drive economic growth through efficiency, innovation and new business opportunities, but it will also reshape the job markets, and as a students you need to build those skills. Environmental impacts, reduce the resource uses, because you are optimizing the resources with the help of AI tools. It will reduce the resource uses, optimize the material and energy consumption, minimize the food waste, all the bottlenecks, enhances the efficiency through process simulation, lower emissions and pollution, okay. Electric vehicles are using, you are optimizing the routes, it will reduce the cost, time, emission. Greenhouse gas emission, industrial waste, real-time environmental monitoring, you can find out scope 1, 2, 3 emissions of your company. Sustainable design and development, eco-friendly products and processes, all those things. It's drive the sustainability by optimizing resource use, emission reduction. So this is the framework, supply chain management digital twin framework. If you want to implement the framework. So Ivano, again the same professor, he has proposed this 7 component based framework where they focused on the technologies. So technologies, you can see all the technology. We discuss only the key technologies like IoT, cloud computing, but there are some other technologies are important. For example, 5G. Why do you need the 5G for digital twin? To transfer that information. That's why. So you can see all those technologies here. Management, what is the role of management, top management in the digital twin implementation. Then you have got the people, as I said, as an employee you need to improve your skills, then you need to update your knowledge. Organization level, modeling, what kind of modeling options are there, machine learning algorithms, optimization, task, what kind of problems we can solve, and the scope. Any logistics, important bit. So any logistics, basically this is a software tool where you can model your supply chain, you can optimize your supply chain, you can do the simulation, you can create some what if scenarios, you can do the risk analysis as well, and you can manage them with a digital twin. Why digital twin? Because there is option you can connect this tool with the your physical world, and the data will directly get from the physical world. So you don't need to directly enter the data. If you have got the ERP or some other tools in your company, you can connect those tools directly to this software, and then it will automatically update the your system, automate the system. It integrates the supply chain design, optimization, simulation with your operation data so that you can analyze, improve your network end to end. What is the benefit of, what is the beauty of this tool? Does anybody know? Who uses this Arena Stella? Am I right? Can you do the optimization in that model tool? Is there any tool available where you can do the optimization and simulation together? As per my knowledge, except any logistics, I don't know. Okay, I have used the Stella, Arena, FlexSim, so many other tools in the past. But as per, any logistics, basically this is an extension of the any logic. Any logic. Does anybody know any logic? Okay, so any logic is basically that tool is for the simulation purpose, discrete event. Okay, you can do only the simulation there, any logic, and any logistics where you can do the optimization and simulation together. You can design the model. You can initially, suppose if you want to optimize it, you can optimize it, and then suppose you want to develop some scenarios, what if scenarios, you can create the what if scenarios, and everything is interconnected. So it is based on the discrete event simulation. I already told it is not based on the agent based system dynamics. It is based on the discrete event. Website is here, and the good thing is that personal learning edition is free for use. As a student, you can download the personal learning edition. So there are some constraints on the personal learning edition, like you cannot model the complex problem there. Complex problem means supplier, you can go maximum 3 supplier, 8 or 10 DCs factories you can go, and 100 customers. You cannot go above 100 customers in the personal learning one, but that is sufficient for the understanding to learn how this the tool works. And once you get that, then if you are the IIT, if they get the academic version, then you can solve the complicated problems as well. Okay, so what kind of problems you can solve? Basically, where should we locate manufacturing sites, distribution center, warehouses? How should we deploy transportation policies, less than truckload, full truckload policy, or if you have any other policies, you can do that. Which resources do we need, man, machines, all those things. What if we introduce new products? Suppose you have got the existing products and now you want to introduce new products, you can do that. Then what if suppose one of the suppliers stops supplying you the products? That kind of thing. What capacity do we need to store our goods? What if we lose our key supplier? Then so many things we can do. This is really powerful, user friendly. Why I am saying user friendly? You don't need to code anything. It is just drag and drop option. If you want to create the supplier, select that icon, drag it where you want to create the supplier, create the customer. When you create the customer, then it will ask you what is the demand of that customer. Then you have the option whether it is a deterministic one or stochastic one. Just define the parameters. So it's not, because at the back end it uses all your simplex branch and bound algorithms to solve the problem. For facility location, it uses the center of gravity method to solve that problem. For optimization, like your simplex Gurubi, it uses the branch and bound. This tool also uses the same thing, but you don't need to define those parameters, because constraints, all those objective functions are already inbuilt in that tool. You don't need to, like in Python or simplex Gurubi, you need to code it basically. What is the objective function constraint? It is less than, greater than, all those things. And this is any logic based digital twin. Again, the framework, you can see the pre-post data. Okay, so what is the technology we need to collect the data, and then post processing, what capabilities we can do, simulation, again modeling, what kind of problems you can solve here. And again another framework, physical layer, digital layer, and how these two the physical and virtual model are connected. This is the digital supply chain twin layer. Here you can see that it provides some proactive supply chain optimization. You use those digital supply chain twin there, and then you analyze the performance, sustainable performance, basically economic, environmental, and social. Okay, so this is a case study. So what you do, I will give 5 minutes basically. You don't need to read the whole case study. I will tell you what is the basically. Read the section 4, just 1 or 2 paragraphs. Section 4. I will take 10 more minutes, guys. Is there any problem? Is it okay? Okay. Read section number 4. One or two paragraphs. Just understand what is the case. I don't know how many copies are there. If there are less number of copies, if you just manage with your friends. Just paragraph and the information given in there. Done? Okay. What is that case study? Tell me. What is the supply chain? Agricultural supply chain. How many members are there? 3 members. Which are they? Supplier means what? Farmers. What do? Basically they grow the cauliflower. Okay, so farmers in southern Italy. Distribution center. How many distribution centers are there? Only one. Am I right? Okay. Customer nodes in central and northern Italy. The suppliers means farmers. They handle the planting, growing, harvesting, storing, and distributing of cauliflowers. So product is cauliflower. Distribution involves fleet vehicles transporting products to the DC and from DC to the customer. Operational details. Harvesting is normally done in only a certain period from December to April. Okay, so based on the planting period, you need to manage your harvesting during December to April. Harvesting is time sensitive and depends on planting schedules. Okay, if you don't harvest it on time, so you may lose the crop as well. So harvesting is time sensitive. Products can only remain in storage for 3 to 5 days because of perishable nature of the product. To meet the contractual quality standards, you cannot keep the product more than 3 to 5 days. Okay, max 5 days. Historical data is available. They haven't given the historical data in the case paper, but they analyze the data from the 3 season 2019 22 22 21 21 to 2022. The company wanted to analyze the impacts of the various disruptions, because if you look at the historical data, this comes into the COVID-19 period. So company wanted to analyze the impact of the disruptions based on the historical data, because there was a huge demand during the first second lockdowns everywhere. So they wanted to see, analyze the impact of the disruptions. What happens, suppose you cannot harvest the crops because of the labor unavailability. What happens, suppose your distribution center is closed, how it will affect your profit, what you can do to manage that disruption. And similarly, suppose the link between DC and customer, if it is disconnected, if suppose border closures and you cannot move the goods from the DC to the customers, what can you do? Okay, so they wanted to analyze those disruptions. So what they did, disruption first, they consider the 3 disruption scenarios. First disruption scenario was supply side disruption. Because of COVID-19 outbreak among field workers led to harvesting disruption and food waste. They did not have the company did not have the sufficient workers to harvest the crops. It means it is a food wastage basically. Second one was middle side disruption. Because of lockdown and border closures, and then the this outbreak, the DC was closed for say around 10 days, 20 days. They wanted to see the impact of the DC closure on the supply chain performance. Okay. Third one is the demand side disruption. Demand side disruption means the link between the DC and the customers, it is disconnected because of the border closures and lockdown. So transport connection between the DC and customers due to government restrictions. So these were the 3 decisions they disruptions they wanted to analyze. But they had the backup plans, response strategies. Suppose what are the response strategies company had? Suppose supply side disruption, because of unavailability workers, supplier signs the pre-contract agreements with the additional seasonal workers. They had the temporary workers, so they, in order to deal with the this workers problem unavailability, they had signed the contract with the additional temporary workers, and those temporary workers will come and pick up the that cauliflower in case your main workers are unavailable. Second one is the DC. If your main DC is closed, activate the additional distribution center, backup distribution center, to manage the disruptions. What is the third one? Transportation disruption. Now they contacted another third party distribution, third party logistics provider to manage that logistics disruption. So these are the 3 response strategies to manage these 3 disruptions. So they wanted to analyze the impact, and then they consider these indicator KPIs. What our first indicator was? Indicator 1, it was environmental sustainability. What is that? Unharvested products and total products. How much cauliflower or products available, total products, and because of that unavailability of workers, how much product we lost. Food wastage, unharvested products, total products. Suppose total products are 500, and out of that 500, suppose you don't harvest the 200 or 300 kg, whatever it may be. So it is related to the environmental sustainability. Why it is related to the environmental sustainability? Food waste, you are wasting the food basically. So environmental. Second one is the products perished in the inventory and harvested products by harvested. So DC can keep the products maximum 3 to 5 days. Suppose because of borders and lockdown you cannot move the products, that products will get spoiled into the your DC. So how much products perished in that inventory divided by the total stock. So that is again environmental sustainability. Third is the social sustainability. Suppose during COVID-19 there was a huge demand for the food essential products. If you spoil the that food and crop, so basically what is the total demand, and out of that total demand how much you fulfilled, fulfill demand by total demand, it will give you the social equity. So that is a social sustainability indicator. Fourth is the revenue. I hope you know how to calculate the revenue. Sales price into the how much products you sold. That's your revenue, economic sustainability. What is the fourth? Resilience. What is that? I4 into N. I4 means revenue. N means revenue during the normal time without disruption. Suppose revenue during normal time is 1 million. Okay, just assume. And what is this minus I4D? D means disruption. Revenue during the disruption. Revenue during the normal time is your 1 million. Revenue during the disruption is 0.5 million. How much was loss? 0.5 million is the your loss divided by the inventory revenue during the normal time. So this shows the percentage. Basically, suppose your percentage is higher, means your supply chain is less resilience. Okay, if you have the more loss because of disruption, it means that your supply chain is not resilient. That's the one. So what they did, so basically they model this problem in the any logistics. You can see the supplier, distribution center, customer. This is the real life network. Okay, and then they collected the data. You can see they initially collected all the data here, then they decided the KPIs, economic, environmental, social. Then they decided the disruption here, 3 types of disruption. Then they decided the response strategy. Then they model the network here, basically done the scenario analysis, and then they analyze each scenario here. Okay, so again the real environment, this is the digital environment. Step 1, data collection, real supply chain awareness, data collection, supply chain KPIs, events. It goes to the digital one, supply chain modeling for digitization, supply chain simulation, and so on. And then this digital environment provide decisions, then you execute to manage your real system. So what are the scenarios they consider? They consider, how many scenarios? 7 scenarios. Why? Scenario 0. Scenario 0 means, what is it? Scenario 0. Can you see D1, D2, D3? What is D1, D2, D3? Disruption 1, 2, 3. RS1, RS2, RC3. Response strategy. Scenario 0 means there is no disruption. No disruption, no response strategy. Normal operation. Normal. Everything is working fine. Scenario 1. Scenario 1 is D1. Disruption 1. Workers unavailability at farms. You cannot pick up the crops. That's the one. And then you are not adding any response at this moment. Only you are trying to identify the impact of that disruption. Disruption. Scenario 2, the impact of DC closure, D2. Scenario 3, impact of transportation link problem. And then what is scenario 4? Tell me. Disruption 1, in addition to that, response strategy. Means you are considering the unavailability of your regular workers, but you are also considering the backup, your agreement with the temporary workers. Same, the scenario 5, it suggests the D2 and D5, D2 and RS2. RS2 means your backup DC. And then finally scenario 6 is your transportation link problem and third party. And what is the scenario 7? All 3 kinds of disruption. Why did they consider all 3 kinds of disruption here, guys? Any idea? Yeah, COVID-19, that's why it is called special kind of event. Why? Because in normal situation you experience the risk from one side. You have the problem from supplier side, demand side, or something like that, but you don't face the problem risk from all the ends. But during COVID-19 we had the problem from supply side, we had the problem from demand side. Our distribution centers were not working, and that's why this is called COVID-19, means simultaneous occurrence of the events. So they consider that one. And what they did find, look at one, I1 means revenue 1. In scenario 1 and 4, scenario 1 means unavailable of workers, and scenario 4 is additional workers. Simulated outbreak among workers causing 10-day unavailability. They assume that the main workers were unavailable for 10 days. And what was the impact? The 12% of the revenue was affected because of that one. Can you see this? 12% was disruption. Then when they activated the RS1, additional temporary workers, their revenue come back to the original level. So that's the first one. Second one, scenario 2 and 4, DC closure. So impact was 7% of products wasted due to the quality issues. They activated the additional DC but did not eliminate it completely. They didn't come back to its original position. They activated the DC but they did not come back to their original profit revenue. Third one is scenario third. Stimulated transporter outbreak causing 1 week disruption affected 15% of demand unsatisfied. Reduce this impact to nearly zero when they went to the third party logistics provider. And in revenue 4 scenario revenue 4 and R1 response 1 revenue evaluation across all scenarios with correctly delivered products. Response strategy proved effective in managing disruption. R1 response strategy 1 revealed low resilience to manpower shortage disruption. So among all three response strategies, the response of the impact of the RS1 has the basically the lower resilience, means it took additional time to come back to the original position. And these are the references for this one. So today we just discuss this one, but in the next, not tomorrow, maybe 3-4 days, we are going to discuss how to design that model in the any logistics. I will tell you step by step how to create the model, how to do the optimization, simulation, everything. Okay, so you can keep the copy of this one if you want. You can see, you can find many papers on the any logistics. You can refer my papers as well. I hope you had enjoyed the session, and if you have any doubts, questions, I am here to answer them. Saurabh, any updates from online participants? No question? Okay, thank you. You can go, guys. Yeah, if you want to.